In this video, we are going to take up one more data type, which is the tuple data type. The tuple data type is almost identical to the list data type, except there is in two ways. Tuples are typed with parentheses, that is within small brackets, instead of square brackets as for a list. For example, if I say x, if I open the two parentheses, small brackets, in other words, hello, which is a string, 42 is an integer, and 0.5 is the float. Print x, 0. So that means print the values which is contained in the variable x in the index number 0. So what is the output you are going to get? It is 0 is hello, 1 is 42, and 0.2 is 0.5. So the output will going to be the string value, which is hello. Now, similarly, if I am considering x is equal to hello, 42, and 0.5, print x 1:3. So it starts from the first index. Which is the first index here? Hello is the 0th index, 42 is the first index, so it will take 42, and then 0.5, that is the second index. It will go up to 3, but not 3 is not included. That means you are going to have the index 1 and the value of index 2, both will going to be printed, which will going to be 42 and 0.5. Similarly, if you have the x, which is equal to, since it is a tuple, you are going to have a small brackets. Hello is the string, 42 is an integer, and 0.5 is the float. So length of this x will going to be how many values it is being stored. It is 3 values, which is hello, 42, and 0.5. So the length of x will going to be, the output is 3. Now, but the main way what tuples are different from lists is that tuples, like strings, are immutable. That means I cannot add or I cannot remove. Tuples cannot have their values modified or appended or removed. If you have only one value in your tuple, you can indicate this type of placing a trailing comma after the value inside the parenthesis. Otherwise, Python will think you have just typed a value inside a regular parenthesis. The comma is what lets Python know this is a tuple value. The one thing what is more important here is if you have only one value in your tuple. What does it mean? Suppose if you type hello. Here you have only one value. So print this outer parenthesis for print function. The next parenthesis what you have is for type, and the last one what you have is for a string. So here, what is the type of this string? It is a tuple. You can see the output class is tuple. Why? Because you can see there is a bracket here. So this bracket shows, comma shows that it is a tuple. Suppose if you type hello, if you don't give a comma after that hello, which is absent here, whereas it is present here, that is the reason why you are getting tuple here. But here, the output will going to be class string, str. Now the second condition, using tuples instead of lists is that, because they are immutable and their contents don't change. So Python can implement some optimizations that make code using tuples slightly faster than the code using the list. The advantage, why that is because tuples are immutable, so you cannot change or you cannot add or you cannot append. So in that way, the tuples will going to be slightly faster when compared to that of the list. How to convert types with the list and tuple functions? Just like str42, that is the string, even though you have a 42 which is an integer value here, if you are calling the function str, then whatever the integer you have, the 42 will going to return as string 42. The string representation of the integer 42, the function list and tuple will return the list and tuple versions of the values passed to them. So just like whatever you have the integer, you are converting into a string. Similarly, the same way I can convert the list into tuple or tuple into a list. So that is the advantage what you have. For example, x equals tuple. Since it is a tuple, you have a two country brackets, that is small brackets, and you are containing the values in the list. The square brackets, what it says, indicates that it is a list having cat, dog, 5. Print x, what it will going to print? It will going to print as cat, dog, 5. Even though you have a list of cat, dog, 5, but if you see the output, since you are using the tuple function, so that list has been converted into a tuple, which is there with small brackets, cat, dog, and 5. Similarly, if you are considering the one more example, x is equal to list. You have a list and you have a tuple here. Why it is a tuple? Because you are having a country brackets, that is the small brackets, which is cat, dog, 5. What will going to be the print x output will be the list containing cat, dog, 5. So you can see that you have a square bracket. In that you have the values cat, dog, and 5. Suppose if I say list, x is equal to list hello, print x. So what it does, it will slices that and it gives the individual characters. Output will be within the square bracket. We are getting the square bracket because you are having a list function. So the list function indicates that it is a square brackets, it indicates that it is a list function. So capital H-E-L-L-O, all are split into the number of indexes and then it will going to give the list value. That is basically because it can be mutable. Now, then we will go for the references. What is the reference? Spam is equal to 42. So what it is doing now? I am assigning a value to a spam. The value what I am assigning is 42 to a variable spam. Once you do that, then I will going to copy the value of spam into cheese. So cheese is equal to spam. So that means the value of cheese will be 42 now. Because the value, you are copying the spam value into cheese. What is the spam value we have taken? The spam value what we have taken is 42. So when you print, then I am reassigning the value of spam now. Since we are reassigning the value of spam, it will going to be spam is equal to 100. So what it is doing, it is changing the value of spam. That means I am rewriting the value of spam by 100. So once you do that, print spam equals spam. Spam within this, I am calling the variable spam here. The spam equals, what is the value of spam? The value of spam is 100. So it will take this value. It won't take this value because once you, this is first time it is executing, it will take 42. Then the cheese, you are copying the value of this value to cheese. Then I am reassigning the value of spam by 100. So no longer the 42 will going to be uploaded or word scored. So what will the print cheese? Cheese value is what? The cheese value is copying the spam value. Cheese value is this. It's copying the spam value. It copies the spam value of what? The spam value of this, not this one. Because of first it will execute this line, then it comes to this line. Once it comes to this line, it will copy this value here. And then spam is equal to 100. So we are reassigning the value of spam to 42 has been rewritten as 100. But this will not going to be copied. This 100 will not going to be copied. So if you give the output, spam is equal to 100 and cheese is equal to 42. Why this happens? You can see you assign 42 to the spam variable and then you copy the value in spam and assign it to the variable cheese. That's what we did. When you later change the value of spam to 100, this doesn't affect the original value of this doesn't affect the value of cheese. This is because spam and cheese are different variables that storing different values. That is because spam initially is taken 42 and then it is copying this 42 to cheese. But once you reassign the value of spam to 100, this is only the new value it is considering, not the old one. That old one, the old value is copied into cheese. So, but lists don't work in this way. When you assign a list to a variable, you are actually assigning it a list reference to the variable. A reference is a value that points to some bit of data, and a list reference is a value that points to a list. If you are considering this, spam equals 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is a list containing the values of 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which again assigned to a spam variable. Then cheese is equal to spam. So what it does, it will copy whatever the data it was here, it will be copied here. So that means it will take the reference value of the list, not the values of the list. So that means it takes this into the reference, not the values into the reference. So cheese is equal to spam. And once you cheese value at cheese, since it is a list having the index value 1, you reassign with the value of hello. That means cheese 1, that is 1 is being replaced by hello. If you want to print the spam and if you want to print the spam will going to have 0, comma, hello, which is a string, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is what you will going to get. If you print the value of cheese, again, it will going to take the same values because in list, it takes the reference of the list, not the values. So once you change the values of one reference, since both cheese and spam refer to the same list or same reference, therefore cheese is automatically changed to the value what you have been assigned to spam. So that is the advantage you are going to have. This might look odd to you. The code changed only the cheese list, but it seems that both cheese and spam lists have changed. When you create a list, you assign a reference to it in the spam variable. That is what you are doing. But the next line copies only the list reference. That's what I told you. Only the list reference in spam to cheese, not the list value itself. This means the value stored in spam and cheese now refers to the same reference or both reference to the same list. So therefore, when you change this is only one underlying list because list itself was never actually copied. So when you modify the first element of the cheese, you are modifying the same list that spam refers to. Therefore, both these values are changing only once you change the cheese value of list. So automatically the spam is also changed. So remember that variables are like boxes that contain values. The list in boxes aren't exactly accurate because list value variables don't actually contain lists, they contain the references of list. That reference list will have ID numbers that Python uses internally, but you can ignore them. So if you say spam, which will going to have a reference of ID, some number. So ID number will going to have 444012345. So once you take the cheese value, once you take the spam value and you are assigning that cheese to a spam, so both will going to have the same reference. You can see here the reference number ID and here the reference number ID. Both are one and the same. Therefore, since both the references will copy will refers to the same ID. So the once you changes in cheese, automatically the values are reassigning to the spam also. So that is the reason why you are getting both the output as same. The reference in spam is copied to cheese. Only a new reference was created and stored in cheese, not a new list. Note how both references refers to the same list. That's what we have shown here. These are the reference numbers which is going to for your reference. So that means once you are copying, it is copying not the values, it is referring to the spam references. Variables will contain references to list values rather than the list values themselves. But for strings and integer values, variables simply contain string or integer value. So this is how you will be able to explain how the copying in both the list, how the list will going to be copied in the Python program. Now we will going to try to execute by using the same thing in Python coding. So how to do that? Now first we'll go for Python. I will say x equals, then I will say hello 42. So here hello comma 42 comma 0.5. Then I will say print. If I say print x, see what happens. If I say print x, whatever it is there, it will going to print hello x, hello 42 and 0.5. Since it's the tuple, you will going to have the brackets. Now, if I want to print only the 0th index, x0, then you can see it will going to print hello only. That is what it can be seen here. Next, I want x 1:3 slicing. So I will say x, I will say 1:3, and then I will going to print. It will going to print the tuple of 42 comma 0.5. You're going to take 42.5. Then you have length of x. If you say print length of x, length function, then if you print, you will going to get 3 because 0, 1, 2. That is 3 elements. One is a string and the other one is the float, and the final one, one is a string, other one is an integer, and the third one is the float value. Now, once you do that, now we will come to this. So here, if I say print type x. If you have only one thing in this case, it's a string. Print type x or type hello, what you mean to say here. Hello or whatever it is, both will going to have the same thing. So here I will say x is the string value. I will say x like this. Print type just x. If you type this, it will be a class of what? It is a string. That is basically because you don't have a comma after this. So this computer or the Python will going to think that x is a string. Actually, the x is a string because you are typing it in single quotes with a set of characters. But the type is a string. So when you want to print your given print, the class will be str. Now, for the same thing, if I say comma here, and then if I try to run, it will say a tuple. You have a tuple here, x, okay. Now you can see here x equals tuple class will going to be a tuple here. You can see that. So yes, with a square with a comma, that will going to shows that it is a tuple. And similarly, if you want to convert the list into tuple and tuple into a list, for that I will say x equals tuple. Okay, then use a list cat dog 5. I will say cat dog 5. Then I will say print x. So I'm converting list into tuple here. Okay, so you are getting a tuple because it is in country bracket, that is the small brackets. Similarly, if I want to have a list having a tuple converting into a list now, I will say list. I want list which was a tuple, converting the tuple value into a list. Okay, so now we have cat 5. Okay, sorry, I need to add one more. Okay, now you are going to print. So that print will going to give a list now. So I'm converting the tuple, that is cat dog 5, which has been covered with a single, which is covered with a small bracket, which has been converted into a list. We can see it is a square bracket here. So this is how we will be able to execute this. Similarly, if I say x is equal to list, then I will type hello. If I use only one, in that case, hello, then I will say print x, sorry, x is equal to list hello, print x. So it will print, since you're going to get it as HELLO, which is a list value with giving the indexing. So this is how you will be able to get this. Now we go for the references. Now we will come to spam equals 42. Then cheese is equal to spam. Then spam equals 100. Okay. Print, I will say spam equals, I will say spam. I am calling those values here. Print cheese equals comma, then I will say cheese. So what happens? Both lists will going to have the different variables. So spam is equal to 100 and cheese is equal to 42. That's what we got here. Similarly, when you are coming into this, I will say spam equals 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Correct? Or 5. Cheese is equal to spam. Cheese is equal to spam. Cheese 1 equals, what is that? We're going to take it as hello. Okay, hello. You will not going to get spam here. Spam is not there. Now we will try to print. Okay, both will go to have the same list. You can see spam is equal to 0, hello, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cheese is also will have the same. Okay, but once the list is formed, once you create a list, it will going to create the references. That is the meaning of this. So once you have the cheese, you are changing the value of cheese list, but automatically the spam list is also changed. That is basically because of the same reference. That is what we do here. So this is how it will going to be executed. So between the tuples and the list value. Thank you.